All right, let me holler at you for a minute. I've been out for a little bit, um, dealing with some little things called kidney stones. May or may not do a video on it later, but I can assure you, you don't want them. They suck, and it amazes me that something that small can cause so much pain. So, um, let's talk just a minute about all that has happened in the last week or so. The DNC convention in Chicago. Um, I, I I don't even really know where to start. Um, it was wild. It was I don't know. You've got Kamala Harris trying to form coherent sentences um, and speak with any kind of perceivable intellect about literally any topic. Um, you've got Michelle Obama lecturing people on taking too much. I mean, the irony there, that joke writes itself. Uh, Obama, Barack giving a speech and saying really nothing in 40 minutes. Um, and then all the Tim Walz stolen valor stuff, right? I will start here. If if you are thinking about supporting Kamala Harris, ask yourself why. And if your answer is because she's not Trump, that's a really shitty answer. Um, and I would just prefer you personally not vote. I've heard people say, I would vote for an oak tree over Trump. I would do, whatever. Here's the thing, and a guy pointed this out on CNN. The Democrats have run this country for the last eight, Trump, and another four for the last more than a decade, with Trump factored in there for 4 years, right? They've controlled this country for the better part of 12 to 13 years. So while it's not all their fault, the bulk of where we're at is their fault. And I don't know how you get around that. I don't know how you look at a party who's been in control the majority of 2 decades and then blame the guy who's only been there for four. That makes no fucking sense at all. And I kept asking myself, why do people hate Trump so much? And it's either one of two things. Democrats are fueled by feelings first and facts a distant second. They hear the words Trump says and associate him with racism, associate him with bigotry, associate him with misogyny. But there's no action to anything he's said that would tie him to those actions. Right? So it hit me. Democrats are fueled by feelings first and foremost, and then actions second, which is why they're so easily fooled into believing that the woman who is running for president now has just the fucking balls to stand up there and say, if you elect me, I will fix these problems, but elect me. When she's been in the White House for 3.5 goddamn years and has signed off on all the fucking issues that have caused the problems to begin with. Like, think about that. And it's a religion, right? The machine is a religion. So think about this. Love him or hate him, Barack Obama had a grassroots movement, right? Had he left the Democratic Party, the bulk of the people who voted for him would have followed him wherever he went, right? Independent, he would have been the first independent or the first modern day independent president. Bernie Sanders, love him or hate him, had a grassroots movement. Ross Perot, you go back that far, had a grassroots movement. Regardless of what you think about him. Kamala is fueled by the Democratic machine. If she were to go anywhere other than where she's at, if she just said, you know what, I'm going independent, she's going to lose 95% of her support. She's part of the establishment. And I no longer look at politics through the lens of Republican and Democrat, conservative and liberal. That's old thinking. I now look at it, and have for a while now, as the establishment and dissident. I am a dissident. The government is entirely too big. The bureaucracy is absolutely out of control. Spending is out of control. Our debt is out of control. Lobbyists, completely out of control. We have no more representation. We just don't. I don't believe my Congress people represent me any more than I think Nancy Pelosi represents hers. So think about this. Politicians, and I'm thinking just macro about the system and why it's so fucked up. Politicians don't think past their next election. Okay? They're elected on average about every 2 years. Right? So that's as far down the road as they think. Their next election. And people, the populace, the public, are so easily placated. That's how these fuckers keep getting reelected. Because I look at Nancy Pelosi, I look at Barbara Boxer, I look at, all these people that keep getting reelected. I'm like, how are these fucking morons still getting elected? And then it hit me. They don't think about what they promise in a political cycle, because they're not going to be around for the ramifications of that promise in the event they do deliver. They're not going to be around to actually, suffer whatever consequences, good or bad, may come of it. They can give you a little crumb right now, and the electorate is so fucking stupid, they'll take it, and they're just so happy to get it. When the real issues are much more complex and much more difficult. Right? So, say what you will about Trump, he's the only shot we have. And I still am not sure whether or not I support him. He still did Operation Warp Speed. He still turned Anthony Fauci loose on the fucking world. Like, he's not perfect. I've never said he's perfect. And I'm not a fan. However, of the dichotomy that they leave us with, the fucking horrible two-party system that we have, of the two options, he is easily the better option to stop this machine that is running this country in the fucking ground. He's easily the better option to end wars. He's not going to end Israel's war because he backs Israel. I disagree with that entirely. But I do believe that he can end the Ukraine war inside of 90 days because of his relationship with Putin. And at some point, I'll make a video about non-interventionism and closing all of our fucking bases. And, you know, it's not our job to police the goddamn world. We got enough problems here. We got enough going on here to worry about fucking Ukraine. So I don't understand. I still don't understand. The only thing that I understand about people supporting Kamala Harris is they're going to vote blue no matter who. If you're that person, I hope you don't vote because you're part of the fucking problem. If you're that person that you think anybody's better than Trump, you are part of the goddamn problem. You just are. If you can't tell me what her best accomplishment is, and you can't because she doesn't fucking have any. She just became the nominee of a major party in America and has never once, not one time, ever received one electoral vote. Not one. And the propaganda machine behind her is unfucking believable. She went from, somehow in 6 weeks, went from the worst, most disliked vice president in the history of this country, which is really hard to do because they usually just stay the fuck out of the way, to somehow becoming this media darling. That tells you how powerful the media is and how much they are behind the Democratic Party. Right? That tells you whose pocket they're in. So, all this without ever having done anything. It's not like she cured cancer. She, didn't do anything at the border. She, again, can't form a coherent sentence about literally any topic that matters. So people are going to vote how they vote, and that's fine. You have the right to do that. I'm just of the belief that if you can't back up and tell me why you're voting for that person without mentioning the other candidate, you're part of the goddamn problem. And I will say that until I die. I will die on this hill. It's just pathetic. This is why half the country doesn't vote. They don't give a shit about it at all because it's so fucked up. They don't see any way to fix it. And there may not be a way. But what I do know is the Democratic Party is not now and hasn't been for a long time the fucking answer. Y'all be cool.